Short, Christmas feathers. Begin animated title sequence. Snowflakes swirl in the sky against the backdrop of a red and gold sunset. The snow fractals and somehow visible to the eye as if magnified by a microscope. They are familiar yet unique crystalline shapes with repeating geometric designs. Reflecting the light as they float past are a flurry of very different snowflake fractals. Their shapes are organically based, curved and contoured, intricately complex feather forms and patterns. They drift and dance in the wind. Magic is in the air. Fade in. Exterior, contemporary suburbs, viewed from above, dusk. A neighborhood where cookie-cutter houses are being blanketed by glittering snow. As the narrator speaks, the camera slowly descends from the clouds towards a single home and follows downward the trail of smoke from its chimney, past a roaring fire and into the living room.
Everyone knows that elves make presents for good boys and girls around the world. But who makes gifts for our deserving pets?
Interior living room, contemporary home, night. Joe, the family patriarch, is reading Christmas feathers to his two children, a boy and girl, seated beside him on a worn sofa. Taking up the remaining space on the couch are several dogs and cats. Perched behind them is a parrot on the stand. Schooling fish look out from an aquarium set against the wall.
According to Yuletide legend, the customs of giving presents to animals began with the timid but cheerful turkey named Birdie, who shared the spirit of Christmas with his barnyard friends. This is Birdie's story, how he became Santa's first animal elf.
Animal elf! Animal elf!
Family turn around in unison, including the dogs and cats, and stare up at the rocking parrot. The children laugh. Cut 2, interior farmhouse, dining room, Thanksgiving dinner. A rustic farmhouse in the late 1800s.
It all started many years ago with a thoughtful girl who lived on her family's farm.
Karen, cute as a button with curly brown hair, is seated at a dining room table staring blankly at a turkey on a carving platter.
Every Thanksgiving and Christmas Day, when everyone else was happy, Karen was sad. She knew a turkey would disappear from their small barnyard, only to reappear at the holiday dinners as the main course.
I'm not hungry, Papa.
Cut 2, exterior farm orchard 7 months later, a summer afternoon.
Even knowing this, she couldn't help but becoming friends with one of the turkeys. His name was Birdie. He was almost her pet.
Karen has a tea party spread out across a blanket under a shade of an old orchard tree. A semicircle of homemade dolls are slumped over china cups and plates. Birdie, Karen's constant companion, stands and pecks at seeds arranged on a plate in front of him. Birdie drinks from his teacup. Karen, holding her raised cup aloft, takes notice and interrupts herself from toasting her guests.
Mr. Birdie.
The timid turkey looks up and stops drinking. He raises his head and watches her closely.
Thank you, everybody, for coming to my party. Please enjoy the cakes and fine tea on the menu today. Why, thank you, sir. The tea is delicious, isn't it?
Karen takes a sip from her cup. Birdie returns to drinking what appears to be water from the teacup in front of him. Cut 2, exterior barn, autumn, Thanksgiving Eve, morning.
While Karen did her chores, Birdie followed her around the farm like a puppy.
She dumps corn cobs into a pig trough, and they all run over. The cob is ejected by the jostling pigs, and Birdie returns it with his beak. Karen puts hay inside the stable door feed racks for several horses in their stalls. Birdie follows closely behind her.
Thanks for keeping me company.
She rewards him with seeds from her outstretched palm. Exterior front yard later that day.
Whenever she left the farm, he would wait for her to return home.
The turkey patrols the front yard as a few remaining autumn leaves drift to the ground. We see his constant pacing as a worn and small dirt track along the inside of the fence. His head sticks out between wooden planks as he watches the unpaved road that runs parallel to the farm. On the horizon, a small figure rises over the hill. We can tell it is Karen. She walks up the road towards the house, carrying a lunch pail. Birdie excitedly flaps his wings and runs towards the gate as she enters.
Welcome home. Goodness gracious.
Birdie looks up at her. Karen touches his outstretched wingtips.
I missed you too, boy. I was just at school. I wasn't going anywhere. That's what you always say.
Exterior, farm barn, continuous. They stroll by the barn and see Wilbur, Karen's father, sharpening an axe blade on a pedal-powered stone wheel.
What are you doing, Papa?
Getting this ready for tomorrow. Thanksgiving dinner.
He tests the cutting blade by placing his fingertip on the blade. The The dull blade creases a furrow in his meaty finger.
Not sharp enough.
Her father smiles and winks at her. Wilbur resumes grinding the axe blade on the wheel. Karen's expression changes from pleasant to distressed as she and Bertie walk towards the poultry yard.
I'm not going to let you, my best friend on the farm, become Thanksgiving dinner. I just won't have it.
She pauses for a moment.
Bertie, I've got an idea.
White tube. Interior, Karen's bedroom, later that afternoon. Karen claps her hands together in excitement, admiring the drapery panels hanging on either side of the bedroom window. The curtain fabric is red, with green polka dots, and is fringed with small white pom-pom tassels. She cuts the floor-length curtains with a pair of sewing scissors. They now extend just above the windowsill. Cut 2. Interior, Karen's bedroom, later. Karen pedals the sewing machine in her room. Close shot, the needle stitches through the fabric, finishing a hemline. She cuts the thread and ties it off. Karen tosses the garment atop a pile of clothing she's already sewn. Cut 2. Exterior, poultry yard. Close shot. Bertie pecks the ground, looking for dinner. He finds a worm trying to burrow itself into the ground, but is chased away by a pack of honking geese. The worm gets away from the geese, but the pack take turns eating seeds they force the foraging turkey to abandon. Interior, kitchen, early evening. Holding a white bedsheet, Karen sneaks outside as her mother, Gertrude, back turned, chops vegetables on the kitchen countertop. Exterior, poultry yard. Karen finds Bertie surrounded by a small turkey flock. They're shielding him from the relentless geese who have been stealing food from him.
There you are, Bertie. Come with me. Come on, boy.
Cut 2. Interior farmhouse back door, moments later. Karen guides Bertie under the bedsheet into the kitchen. He is concealed except for his thin legs and claws that protrude underneath. They sneak past Gertrude, who is facing the stove. She is singing to herself as she stirs the pot. Cut 2. Interior staircase continuous. They tiptoe up the stairs until the stair tread creaks beneath their weight. Cut 2. Interior kitchen.
Karen, is that you?
Cut 2. Interior staircase. They freeze. Cut 2. Interior kitchen. Gertrude listens for a moment. She shrugs and continues singing and stirring the pot. Cut 2. Interior staircase. The duo simultaneously reach the top of the staircase. Karen bumps into the timid turkey, knocking him off balance. He frantically launches himself and the bedsheet up into the air.
Sorry, Bertie. Oh.
He floats before her, a ghostly apparition. She grabs air as Bertie flaps down the hallway. After a chase and several failed attempts, she's able to get her arms around him. Clutching Bertie to her chest, she bounds to the open doorway of her bedroom. Karen grabs the door with one hand and gently closes it while being pulled in the opposite direction by the flapping turkey. She throws the sheet off. Reeling, he appears disoriented and elated at the same time, as if he's stepping through heaven's gate. Music cue, heartstrings sound effect. End of music.
This is my room, Bertie. Let's try this on you.
Cut 2. Same interior, same, moments later. The plump turkey is wearing a Santa Claus suit made from drapery fabric. His jacket sleeves and waistline are bordered with a pom-pom tassel fringe. On his head is a stocking cap, a single pom-pom ball on top. Spanning his considerable midsection is a black cloth belt that is looped around the red and green polka dot jacket. The Santa suit, a gift of friendship and stitched with love, momentarily glows with Christmas magic. Karen holds up a costume beard made up from curtain pom-poms.
One more thing.
Karen hangs the beard over Bertie's beak, covering his bright red wattle. She steps back, pleased at her friend's festive outfit. Bertie is perplexed, shaking his head and beak.
Don't you dare touch that beard. Stand very still, Bertie, and pretend you're a Santa Claus doll.
The turkey straightens up, his demeanor like a palace guard protecting the Queen's residence.
Try to look happy, like Santa.
Cut 2. Close shot, the doorknob to Karen's room. The knob squeaks as it turns from the outside. The bedroom door slowly creaks open. A menacing large shadow floods the room, followed by George, Karen's baby brother. He wobbles in, wearing a pajama top and diaper.
What do you want, George?
George scans the room and spots Bertie, stiff and forcing a smile, trying to blend in with several stuffed animals on the floor beside him.
New dolly. My Santa. Mine.
George grabs the disguised turkey. Startled, the doll is so lightweight for his size, he twirls it around.
Wee, wee, wee.
George stops twirling Bertie. He scrutinizes him more closely.
Santa Claus?
Karen makes eye contact with Bertie. Her stare reminds him to act like a Santa doll. He instantly straightens up while trying to appear jolly. George tosses Bertie into the air, expecting him to fly. He catches him and throws him again, nearly scraping the ceiling several times. Confused, the toddler begins to gently rock the overstuffed doll, humming it a lullaby. George can't help but give the smiling doll a hug. Pinned to George's shoulder during the long embrace, Bertie struggles to breathe. The clangs of the large triangle bell disrupt George's tranquility. Cut 2. Exterior, back door porch. Gertrude lets the bell beater drop and dangle wildly from the string. She re-enters the kitchen from the back porch.
Dinner time! Dinner time! Food's on the table. Children!
Cut 2. Interior, Karen's bedroom. George releases the plaything and chugs out of the room. Bertie slides to the floor, almost unconscious, his eyes rolled back and his tongue hanging out of his beak.
Bertie, I've got to eat dinner now.
She scatters a handful of seeds from her jacket pocket onto the braided rug in the center of the room. Bertie instantly becomes alert and hungrily pecks at the seeds. Swipe 2. Interior, kitchen, later. The entire family are seated around the kitchen table eating a steaming hot stew. A kerosene lamp hangs above them, illuminating their meal. Cut 2. Interior, Karen's bedroom. Bertie hunts and pecks at the seeds. The camera pans down, revealing a cross-section of the house. The kitchen is directly below Karen's room. Cut 2. Interior, kitchen table continuous. The kerosene lamp begins to sway. Muffled tapping noises emanate from the ceiling. Karen is mesmerized by the swaying lamp. Scanning the table, she notices the family are oblivious, too preoccupied eating to realize what is happening. Except George, seated in his high chair.
Santa! Roof!
Karen shakes her head.
No, dear. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving, not Christmas.
Turkey! Santa, turkey!
Goodness gracious! No, Santa Claus is a person. He brings you presents, if you're a good boy.
New dolly!
Gertrude restrains George from climbing out of his high chair.
I see how you got confused. Because we have turkey on both Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Why don't we eat something else, Papa?
No. We always eat turkey twice a year. Otherwise, we'd have way too many turkeys.
It's traditional to serve turkey at the holidays.
It's all American and patriotic too. Besides, they taste good.
Papa, you're not nice.
Karen, what on earth has gone into you? Apologize to your father this instant.
I'm sorry, Papa.
Wilbur lifts his hand up to the swaying overhead lamp, as if to block a breeze from the kitchen windows.
You know, Gertrude, I think we have drafts in this house.
The lamp stops swaying.
It's always something.
Yes, dear. It's always something.
Cut 2. Interior, Karen's bedroom, continuous. Bertie looks down at the braided rug, unable to find any more seeds. He's eaten them all. He yawns. His wattle flaps beneath his pom-pom beard as he exhales. From the window, he looks out at the barn a short distance from the house. Cut 2. Interior barn. The stalls, pens, and poultry yard are dark and quiet. The animals are all asleep. Cut 2. Interior, Karen's bedroom. Bertie stretches out his wings underneath his outfit and yawns again. Bertie's POV. He scans the room. His eyes stop at Karen's bed. The large pillow and mattress look inviting. Wipe 2. Interior, George's nursery, later. Gertrude sets George in his crib and kisses his cheek.
Good night, Georgie.
His mother walks out of the room yawning, but George is restless. He stands, grabs the crib bars, shakes them. Unable to contain himself, he climbs over the railing and lowers himself to the ground. Cut 2. Interior hallway, moments later. Pausing at the staircase, George listens to his mother and sister talking in the kitchen.
Mother, I'm so tired. I'm going to bed early.
Cut 2. Interior kitchen. Gertrude is sweeping the floor. Karen is washing the dishes.
You do have a big day tomorrow, child.
Big day?
Have you forgotten about Thanksgiving?
Oh, Thanksgiving.
Is everything all right, sweetheart?
Yes, ma'am.
Cut 2. Interior hallway. George is standing in front of Karen's room and slowly opens the door.
You seem preoccupied with something.
Turkey!
Cut 2. Interior, Karen's bedroom. George approaches Bertie, perched on the headboard of the bed. Close up, Bertie snoring lightly. George's hands hover above the bird. Low angle, George from behind. Our view of Bertie is obstructed by George's back. Several of Bertie's feathers fly into the air.
Home!
Cut 2. Interior, Karen's bedroom, later. Holding a candle that lights the way, Karen is startled when she enters the bedroom. Bertie isn't inside. His stocking cap is on the floor, along with a few of his feathers. Cut to interior George's bedroom, moments later. Illuminated by eerie candlelight, we see George asleep in his crib. Bertie stiffly smiling beside him.
Oh, Georgie.
Bertie looks up at Karen, relieved to see her. Cut to interior Karen's bedroom. Karen holds a drowsy Bertie, the stocking cap back atop his head. She opens the closet door and sees a sewing model inside.
You can sleep here tonight.
She gently places him on top of the sewing form. Light cast by her candle creates a shadow of the bird and the sewing model assembled, resembling a chubby Santa Claus against the back of the closet. Karen spins around, looking behind her. Realizing the shadow is just from Bertie in the form, she chuckles to herself. Taking a key from her sewing cabinet drawer, she locks the bedroom door from inside. She blows out the candle.
Good night, Bertie. You're safe tonight.
Cut to exterior, the farm, high-angle Thanksgiving morning. A rooster crows, signaling daybreak, the start of another day on the farm. Cut to interior, Karen's bedroom. The clangs of a large triangle bell wake Karen from her sleep. Exterior, back door porch. Gertrude lets the bell beater drop and dangle wildly from the string. She re-enters the kitchen from the back porch.
Rise and shine. Breakfast. Food's on the table, children.
Cut to interior, Karen's bedroom. Karen checks the closet. Bertie is still asleep, snoring lightly on the sewing form. Cut to interior, outside Karen's bedroom moments later. Dressed for the day, Karen locks the bedroom door from the outside. She skips down the stairs to the kitchen table. Cut to interior, kitchen table. Karen digs into the oatmeal prepared by her mother.
Good morning. Did you get a good night's sleep?
Good morning. Yes, ma'am.
The back door opens and Wilbur steps inside, holding a turkey carcass by its legs. A tight-angle shot conceals the turkey's head has been cut off.
Turkey, Santa.
Oh, my.
It's just a gobbler, children. For goodness sakes.
Where?
Wipe to interior kitchen later. Gertrude is plucking the Thanksgiving turkey inside the sink. Downy feathers drift up as she works. Karen sneaks out behind her, carrying a large picnic basket. Cut to exterior poultry yard beside barn later. Karen furtively glances around before moving the basket lid. Bertie's head pops out, followed by the rest of his body, which quickly expands from the shape of the basket to his normal dimensions. He spins his head around, soaking it all in. Karen removes Bertie's cap and Santa suit. Cut to exterior barn, small bench. She places the clothing inside the child's wooden bench with a hinged lid seat, set against the barn wall.
This is my old bench, Bertie. I used to sit here and watch you when you were a chick.
Cut to flashback, barn, small bench, several years ago. Karen, a toddler, is on the edge of the bench, observing all the activity around her. Bertie, an inquisitive chick, cautiously approaches, drawn by her kind spirit.
Hello there, little turkey. You're so nice.
Karen reaches out and pets Bertie's feathers. He purrs softly. Turkey purrs sound like a pigeon cooing, and looks up adoringly at her.
I'm going to call you Bertie.
End flashback. Exterior barn, small bench, back to present.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Karen kneels and gives Bertie a hug. He wraps a wing around her shoulder. Wipe to exterior poultry yard morning. Karen and Wilbur are throwing seeds to the barnyard fowl.
The timid turkey was spared from the Thanksgiving table that year because of his friendship with Karen. Yet Christmas was on its way.
Give extra feed to that one until Christmas morning.
Karen, realizing that Bertie is the chubbiest turkey in the flock, doesn't say anything and stands still, sulking.
As winter turned colder and nighttime arrived earlier, Bertie didn't seem to notice. He just appeared thankful for Karen's gift of friendship, and maybe because of his handmade Santa suit, all he wanted was to give to others.
Around the farm, montage. A, exterior poultry yard. Karen and Bertie watch the V formation of honking wild Canadian geese fly overhead. Bundled in a heavy jacket, her breath visible in the cold air, Karen extends a handful of seeds to her friend. B, exterior barn, small bench, later. Bertie spits out the seeds onto the bench's storage compartment. The seeds land on top of his Santa suit. C, exterior orchard, later. Bertie pecks around the orchard trees. D, exterior barn, small bench, a short time later. He lifts the bench lid with his wing and drops several apples using his beak into the storage bin. E, winter garden, days later. Bertie tugs carrots as if they were worms from the ground. F, exterior barn, small bench later, and deposits them into the bench repository bin. G, exterior flower garden later. Bertie surveys a patch of wilted sunflower plants and notices one of the flower heads hanging close to the ground. H, exterior barn, small bench later. He shakes the dried sunflower and hundreds of its seeds fall atop his Santa suit, which is now covered by a cornucopia-like bounty that he's been accumulating. Cut 2. Exterior, dinner room table at night. The farmhouse is decorated for Christmas. Karen is writing a letter by candlelight. We see the words she has written and hear her recite them back to herself. Insert Karen's letter to Santa.
Dear Santa Claus, all I want for Christmas is...
Seated at the table, she pauses for a beat before continuing. We don't see what else she writes. White 2. Exterior, poultry yard, evening, Christmas Eve. Karen is dressed in her best church dress and winter jacket.
Bertie, it's Christmas Eve. I'll get you tonight and take you up to my room. You'll be safe again with me.
She hugs him. Karen runs to join her family, who are climbing into their no-frills horse and buggy. George sits in Gertrude's lap. She hugs the toddler and kisses his cheek.
Go, Daisy. Go now.
Cut 2. Exterior country church, high angle. Nativity pageant night. Horse-drawn buggies stand off to the side of the church entrance. An outdoor nativity pageant is set up behind the modest building. A church bell rings as parishioners spill from the nearby small town and stream along rutted roads to the sanctuary grounds. Karen's family stand together among many worshippers. In front of them is a living creche.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing to joyous strains. Angels we have heard on high, sweetly, sweetly through the night.
Snow begins to fall. The crowd reacts with joy, reaching out gloved hands to catch the flakes.
And the mountains in reply, echoing their brief delight. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo.
Children dressed as angels make an appearance, entering from behind the display. The crowd reacts, raising their collective voice. Their singing fills the night air with a Christmas spirit, goodwill, and hope.
Why this jubilee, while your joyous strains prolong, what the gladsome tidings be, which inspire your heavenly song. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo.
Animals are inside small pens arranged around the display centerpiece at the manger, where a radiant baby, playing the role of the newborn Jesus, looks up from inside. All the barnyard creatures are swaying to the music, caught up in the singing and emotion of the people.
Come to Bethlehem and see Him whose birth the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee Christ the Lord, the newborn King. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in
excelsis Deo.
Christmas bells ring. Wipe 2, exterior, the farm, later that night. The family rides back to the farm. Their buggy pulls onto the path to the barn and stops beside the kitchen door of the farmhouse. The family descends. Wilbur guides the horse to the barn while Karen and Gertrude, holding George, walk towards the house. Cut 2, interior George's bedroom, later. Gertrude lifts George into his crib and kisses the sleeping child. Cut 2, interior Karen's bedroom, continuous. Karen sets a mechanical alarm clock on her bedside table to 11:55. She winds it up and places it under her pillow. Still fully dressed, she scoots herself under the bed's covers and blows out the candle on the side table. Cut 2, interior master bedroom, later. Gertrude and Wilbur blow out the candles on the bedside tables. They roll over in bed, facing each other. Wipe 2, interior farmhouse living room, later that night. Gifts are layered beneath the Christmas tree and the children's stockings have been hung with care above the fireplace. A grandfather clock in the room strikes 11:45 p.m., issuing a quarter-hour chime. Exterior barn. Stars glitter in the frozen night sky. Snow is falling and the barn roof is covered in a feathery white blanket. Cut 2, exterior poultry yard, continuous.
It started snowing that Christmas Eve. Snowflakes like crystal feathers floated from the skies and danced in the wind. There was magic in the air.
Snowflakes drift past the camera. Their fractals are visible as if magnified by a microscope. They are curved and contoured, organically shaped, feather forms and patterns. Exterior, barn, small bench.
All Bertie wanted was to share the gift of friendship and the season of giving with others.
Bertie waddles over to the barn, raising his wings to the air to catch snowflakes. He lifts the hinged lid of the bench with his beak. With a flip of his wing, he tosses the Santa suit up into the air and flies into the suit before it can fall to the ground. He flips the stocking cap up to the top of his head with a flourish. Bertie gathers all the treats he's been accumulating inside the storage bin and dumps them into a discarded seed bag laying beside the bench.
With a bag full of gifts slung over his wing, he tiptoed into the barn.
Interior barn. Bertie cautiously approaches the horse stalls. In fast motion. At each stall, he takes out an apple from the stuffed seed bag with his beak and flips up to deposit it on top of the paddock door. End fast motion. Carrying the seed bag, Bertie wobbles towards the pens of the other sleeping animals. Visible through the partially open barn door, we see Santa Claus's sleigh high in the night sky. It is headed towards the farmhouse. Exterior, farmhouse rooftop moments later. Santa's sleigh slides to a stop. His reindeer trample in place on the freshly fallen snow. Interior, master bedroom, continuous. Wilbur is awakened by the sounds above him. He scrambles out of bed wearing a nightshirt and stocking cap. He opens his bedroom window and looks directly up, but he only sees the shining full moon above the roofline. Looking towards the barn, its doors are slightly open on both sides. The silhouette of someone inside is visible. It appears to be Santa carrying a large bag of presents over his shoulder.
My goodness, it's him. What's Santa Claus doing in my barn? Gertrude! Gertrude! Santa's in our barn!
Yes, dear.
She starts snoring. Wilbur picks up the candle holder. He extends the unlit candle in front of him as he strides to the door. Interior, farmhouse, living room, continuous. Downstairs, Santa Claus is completing his gift-giving chores. He stuffs an assortment of toys into George's stocking. A tray on the hearth holding a sugar cookie and a glass of milk catches his attention. Santa takes a bite from the cookie and washes it down with the milk before ducking into the fireplace. Placing a finger on the side of his nose, he slowly rises up the chimney. Interior, upstairs hallway. Wilbur opens the bedroom door and hurries downstairs. Interior, living room. He discovers, to his surprise, the glass of milk is empty, and only half the cookie is left on the tray.
Santa's been here already. Then who's that in my barn?
Interior, Karen's bedroom, continuous. The clock under Karen's pillow sounds its alarm. She's awakened by its muffled clangs. She rolls out of bed and grabs a picnic basket beside the door before exiting the room. Exterior, barnyard, continuous.
Bertie silently left presents for all of the animals, even the geese, who honked and pecked at him whenever they had the chance.
A small pile of seed is beside each goose. In the background, Bertie tiptoes away. Exterior, barnyard, around midnight.
After completing his gift-giving, he was startled by a visitor.
Directly facing Bertie, dressed in his red suit, trimmed with white fur lining, is the one and only Santa Claus. A sparkling sleigh drawn by a team of reindeer is behind him. Gift-wrapped boxes peek out from a mountainous bag of presents heaped inside the sleigh.
Are you Bertie? Ho, 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 ho.
Gobble, gobble.
Bertie, I'm here because Karen sent me this letter.
He holds it up for Bertie to see. Insert Karen's letter to Santa.
Dear Santa Claus, all I want for Christmas is for Bertie to be safe. He is my best friend on the farm. I want him to be with me forever. Love, Karen.
Santa and Bertie look up from the letter as Wilbur approaches. He's wearing his stocking cap and a heavy jacket over his nightshirt. Wilbur is holding his axe in one hand and a lighted candle in the other.
Santa? Is that you? Oh, what's that gobbler of mine doing dressed up like that? Did you catch him in my barn?
Santa turns toward Wilbur, immediately assessing the situation.
Yes, it's me, Wilbur. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Claus. I'm sorry that turkey's trying to impersonate you. I don't know why. He belongs on our dinner table. Excuse me.
Wilbur, axe in hand, slowly approaches Bertie.
Here, turkey, turkey, turkey. Here, turkey.
The timid bird takes off around the side of the barn out of view, followed by Wilbur. Karen arrives at the scene and is amazed. Seeing Santa Claus for the first time, she's practically speechless.
Santa?
Out of Karen's line of sight, we see Wilbur, through the partially open barn doors, holding the axe above his head, chasing Bertie around the barn.
Karen, Merry Christmas, child.
Bertie appears, rounding the back of the barn, chased by Wilbur.
Oh, Papa, stop! Please stop!
Bertie sees Karen, who has started crying, and runs behind her for protection.
That turkey thinks he's Santa Claus, but he's actually our dinner.
Let me say something, Papa. I made his clothes. Bertie's not trying to be you, Mr. Claus. He just wants to share friendship with others. He's my pet, Papa. He's always been my best friend on the farm.
Your best friend. A turkey from the barnyard.
Well, Bertie has a lot of Christmas spirit, doesn't he? He can never have too much of that.
I guess not many gobblers have Christmas spirit like him.
That's right, Wilbur. I think Bertie would make a fine elf. Actually, a fine animal elf.
Really? One of my turkeys? An animal elf? Imagine that. What's an animal elf?
An elf that makes toys for good boys and girls?
No, animal elves make toys for our well-behaved pets.
Why do you get a pet for Christmas anyway?
Bertie is special, Wilbur. He loved with all his heart somebody who cared for him. That's how Bertie became Karen's best friend. Merry Christmas! Ho, 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 ho! You almost got a stocking full of coal this year. Oh, Blizzards, I forgot to ask Bertie what he wants. Would you like to help me give presents to good pets everywhere, my friend?
Gobble, gobble.
Merrily thankful, Bertie does a brief happy dance and then stops abruptly. He looks up adoringly at Karen.
I'm gonna miss you, Bertie.
Gobble, gobble.
Karen kneels in front of him and they hug. Exterior, Santa Claus's sleigh moments later.
With a signal from Santa, the reindeer lift the sleigh into the sky, and they continue their mission of spreading Christmas joy.
As the sleigh takes flight, Bertie wistfully looks back at the farm and flaps a wing, waving goodbye. On the ground below, Karen and Wilbur wave to Bertie and Santa. Bertie's eyes are moist. A large teardrop rolls down and splashes on his beak. Wipe too. Interior, living room, morning. Gertrude, holding George, steps from the staircase into the living room. They see Karen holding a doll dressed tightly to her chest. Wilbur puts his arm around Gertrude's shoulder. Close shot, a doll resembling Bertie. Karen wipes tears of joy from her cheeks and looks up at her family.
Karen checked her stocking for a gift from Santa. She was surprised to find a turkey doll dressed in a green elf suit. Then she understood. Santa had left her a doll that she could keep forever, and Bertie was safe with Santa. Karen's Christmas wish had come true.
Wilbur opens his present from Santa Claus. Inside are 2 sleigh bell harnesses. The sleigh bells jingle as he lifts them up.
Wilbur, how thoughtful. Sleigh bells for the horses.
Cut to, interior, Santa's workshop, the North Pole, later. Bertie stands proudly in front of Santa. The barnyard turkey is wearing black boots and with white fur lining under a crisp, all-green North Pole issued elf suit.
You're now my very first and long overdue animal elf.
Oh, thank you, Santa. Hey, I can talk. I can talk like you now.
Of course you can talk. You're one of Santa's animal elves. Now, let's get to work. Oh, just kidding, Bertie. You start tomorrow.
Cut 2. Interior Santa's workshop, animal elf wing, years later. Bertie, respectable, looking wiser, is holding a clipboard. He's reading a letter passed along to him by Santa. In the background are other animal elves building toys and wrapping presents destined for good pets around the world.
To this day, whenever Santa gets a letter from a child who has made a special wish for their pet, he turns it over to his trusted team. Santa's animal elves make toys and presents for our pet companions. And if you ever find a feather or two along with their gift, you'll know that Bertie made it himself.
Cut 2. Exterior, Bertie's sleigh, flying high above the ground, night. Bertie is seated in a sleigh drawn by a team of geese above a snowy landscape. A white feather driven by the wind flies past camera. Cut 2. Interior farmhouse, dining room table, Christmas dinner. Close shot, Karen smiling. Wilbur, standing behind Karen, places a hand on her shoulder. Then he moves over to the front of the table and begins to carve the ham. Outside the window, snow is falling. Sleigh bells hanging on the porch beside the triangle bell jingle as the winds swirl. Music cue, instrumental version of Angels on High. Reverse angle, the family's Christmas dinner viewed through a frosty window pane. Cut 2. Interior living room, contemporary home, night. Joe is reading Christmas feathers to his children seated on the sofa beside him. His wife is standing behind them. Their dogs and cats are sitting with Joe and the kids on the sofa as the parrot and fish look on.
Merry Christmas to all of God's creatures, especially our wonderful pets. We celebrate with them because they are a gift to us every day of the year. And now you know, furry, feathered, and even scaly friends, if you are good and don't misbehave, the animal elves will make you something special this Christmas.
Joe, his wife, and their children snuggle with their pets.
Animal elf. Animal elf.
The family laughs. Children with their pets, live action montage. A series of brief vignettes of children introducing us to their pets while giving them a Christmas gift or opening a present for them. Cut 2. Begin animated title sequence. Snowflake fractals shaped like feathers float by, reflecting the sunset light. End music. Fade out.